Russ Miller here, and I want to take a minute and give you the actual development story of the click. A lot of people ask me how I came up with this idea back in the day, and I just wanted to talk that through. What you're looking at is the catalyst for the click, and all the generations thereof really was this little 12 by 7 inch bamboo snare drum. And this was going to be an artist series drum for me. There was some production problems with it, with Yamaha. The shells kept cracking, trying to get it down to a 12-inch drum. So we ended up doing 14s and they worked fine, but the 12s just weren't working that well. But this one worked, and I love this drum. It's a great drum. I still have it and I still use it. I was doing a soundtrack for a movie called Moulin Rouge, and it was in the early 2000s. And basically, they loved this drum. They wanted me to use it as a primary snare on the recording, but there was some cross sticks involved, and that was a real problem. As you know, with a 12-inch snare drum, you can't even play a cross stick. It doesn't even get to the sweet spot on the stick. That's why the click is so important for small diameter drums. So I was really stuck, and I wanted to provide what they needed, so I want to use this as a primary. I have a bunch of 14-inch snare drums, but I couldn't put them to the right or left to play the cross sticks because it's going to image to the right or left, right, in the stereo image of the recording. So I had to mount one over the bass drum. That drum had one of the original vintage hoops on it. Now, this is something that I worked on and designed with Takashi Hagiwara back in the day, before obviously this. So there was a wood hoop on that drum, and it has an amazing cross stick sound. I loved it, so I was able to do that and play this drum. But in my brain, I was like, I got to get a piece of this wood hoop on this drum. And that's where the first generation came from, was creating a piece of the vintage wood hoop that would mount on any drum and has adjustable mounts on it for any size and lug configuration. So this first generation was born out of that, and off of this little guy, this little 12 by 7. And as we moved into newer generations of the click, I did some things during design, like created the mono mounts, which allowed us to not have it mounted vertically down the drum, because this one kind of ran into the butt plate and strainers sometimes. So the mono mounts are much smaller. It's higher, so you don't run into those things. It's just a smaller embodiment of it. And then also, we wanted to get a little bit more high mids back, 3,500 to 5,000 kilohertz range, to really get that pop, that sample sounding cross stick sound. So we put the copper plies in, and that's why the click is very similar to the first generation as far as maple is concerned, but it has the copper plies in it, and of course the mono mount, the new mounting versions of it. And now you have that perfect sound. Here's your 12, and then it just sounds like a sample every time you play it. And that's really where it came from, though. A lot of people have tried to copy it, and they don't have this original story. This is where it happened, off this little guy, this 12 by 7 bamboo snare drum, and that was the birthplace of the click.